The ROI Economic Forum, a leading Northern Nigerian economic and advocacy think tank, has raised concerns over the Central Bank of Nigeria's new Bureau de Change recapitalization policy, describing it as economically exclusionary and regionally lopsided. According to the chairman of ROI Economic Forum, Ibrahim Shehu Danta Kata, the new capital requirement could potentially shut out thousands of legitimate northern BDC operators, many of who have sustained the subsector for decades. The Apex Bank last year announced on the 3rd of June 2025 as the deadline for Bureau de Change operators to recapitalize if they wanted to remain in operation. As part of the revised framework introduced in February of 2024, CBN stated that the BDCs are required to meet a new minimum capital requirement, including 2 billion naira for Tier 1 and 500 million naira for Tier 2 operators. Now, we've been joined by Rise News analyst Dayo Sobowale as he joins us to discuss this policy, the need to rally a broad support base for it, and what must be done to ensure equity and balance amongst all parts of Nigeria. I want to say good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure having you, Studio.
All right, let's get it started. What do you think about this recapitalization policy?
Well, it's an economic financial policy, and it's been on for a year. It's been extended thereafter, and they are asking for another extension. You see, it is not a federal character issue. We are in a world of marketing competition. You see, if you are trying to move with the times and to create equity, competence, integrity, and efficiency, you have to move with the times. For somebody to sit at the back or outside the fence and be saying that some tribes are included, are not included, I don't buy that. You see, I sympathize with those in the competition who cannot meet up with the standard. If you look at the increment, it's very high. But some people have fulfilled it. Now, Arewa is saying that 90% of those who fulfilled it are from a particular section of the country. That is not an issue. And not only did they say that, they were even threatening. They have my empathy that their people cannot make the standard. You get me? But that is what economic competition is all about. Some people fulfilled those conditions. Those are, you see, in economic competition, it is a game of the survivor of the fittest. And they are trying to do change management. You can't manage change. When change comes, even the term change management is an oxymoron. When change comes, those who will survive it will survive it. Those who stand in its path will be swept away. So they have my sympathy, especially with regard to the fact that, as you see, we have always seen Northerners in this business. You know, many parts of Lagos, even the banks cannot do without them. But these are small players. Now, CBN has decided in its freedom to weed out some. They did it in the banking sector. That's why you have some banks managing, scampering to be involved in mergers so that they won't sink. And they have to, where you used to be number one, you now become number 3 or so. At least you are surviving. So these are small players he's talking about. And he's talking of unemployment. Unemployment is already with us. I don't think this will compound it out of existence because there is insecurity that is invoking and calling the National Security Advisor to do something. There's not much no Ribadu can do about it. It's an economic financial situation. And the central bank is even trying to give time. But I won't ask it to succumb or to lower standards. It's a game of survival of the fittest. Let's leave it at that for now.
Mr. Shibu, I like your point about change management, especially being a bit of an oxymoron. But how does, you're saying, of course, you wouldn't ask CBN to cave or to, deal with, or lower its standards for the purpose of this. But it could.
Eventually.
Maybe it might, but how can it ensure that its policies don't inadvertently favor specific regions while maintaining sound financial regulations?
And that is the observation of those defending the interest of the North. But you look at the economic geography, you get me, and the makeup of the finance industry and the nature of commerce in Nigeria. They say everything is in Lagos. Lagos is still the commercial capital of Nigeria. You get me? You don't have the port in Abuja now. You don't have the sea in Abuja. You don't have people bringing in containers, taking. You have to land in Lagos. You do business in Lagos. So that is a fallacy, one way or the other. That is the reality of the situation. And you say the business is metamorphosing. You get me? From small players to big ones. That was the time I said it. The banks will even bring in these buyers, these sellers, to get money from them, which they cannot get from central bank. So if the central bank has standardized and formalized and sanitized the system and raised the bar, it is raising the bar so that to limit the level or quantity of participation and improve the quality. Those who cannot meet it, let them go to another business and let nobody threaten the financial industry with the National Security Advisor. I would advise that.
All right, some will say that maybe that's where the problem is, that when policies are being pushed out, people look at it from the periscope of ethnicity.
Yes.
And some will say that the North has been very guilty of this because they've questioned them that they've refused to step into the light, permit me to use that, when it comes to how they graze their cattle and now this whole Bureau de Change. Is it a case of them feeling that they are being marginalized? Now note, some of these things did not raise head in the past government that was from the North. Now we have a government from the South. We're beginning to see things that seem to not favor the North, so to speak. Help us balance this too.
Yes, I'm happy you are seeing that now. Look at me, I'm happy you are seeing that. You see, I used to use the phrase, the Northerners think they are born to rule. You get me? And it's because of the structure of our democracy, our population, and all that. They feel they are more than the rest of Nigeria, and they should always be in power. It has not occurred to them that even if they are more in population, because if we vote, people do not always vote across north-south dimension. There can be other indices for people. So that is part of the weakness they have, and it's still part of the weakness of their case. This is a financial situation. You cannot say, okay, if you say Lagos, Lagos is a university, but it's the commercial capital of Nigeria. People flock here. But that does not mean that you cannot have equity or fairness. Tinubu lost in Lagos during the last presidential election. And allegations are still simmering from that. You get me? So nobody can manage change. I will put it back to that. Change is evolving, and if you can't have economic stagnation. Get me? In this wisdom, those who control the high points of our finance have decided that let us raise the capital. It's a capital-intensive situation now. If you have it, you survive. Some people have paid it. It's because those who have been able to afford it, they say are from one ethnic coloration. That is their own observation. That's the spectacles they are using. But to me, it's a game of economic survival of the fittest for us to move forward. Nobody can manhandle change or ethnicize change. Let's leave it at that.
Also, Mr. Sobowale, now still the need for balance or balancing act. Instead of a uniform recapitalization, should the CBN consider graduated requirements based on regional economic conditions?
But they have already done it, even in what they have done. Okay. The group 2 people, they say only one state. You get me? It's a matter of your financial strength to determine the level of your participation. But if you remember that, you see, we are in serious and dire straits over our foreign exchange issue. Say the rate of the naira to the dollar. I could remember a time when when I just started work, it was 1 naira to $1, even 1 naira to £1 or something like that. So you see the trajectory is down. So to sanitize it will involve massive overhaul. That is why you see the percentage increment for group 1 and group 2 are over 1,000. They're astronomical. That is the nature of the industry. That shows the level and depth to which we are falling and from which we are trying to get up now. So let people face the music of competition and learn to live according to the standards of the industry they participate in modern Nigeria. Sam?
I want to say many thanks to you, Dayo, for your time here on Newsday.